Well, I've never been out this country.
What?
I've never been out this country.
Oh, okay. I actually went to France and Italy last summer.
Oh, lucky you. I didn't, But I want to know, how were you able to, like, with the school, with your family?
I went with the school with my French class, but I also know there's
Oh, French? Oh, we're talking about French now because I take Spanish, so that's why.
No. The Spanish classes can also go places, but actually there's a trip to Italy again if you wanted to go.
Oh, there's a trip to Italy?
Yeah, it's not through any of like the particular school classes. It's just we have like a partnership with a school in Montella, something like that. Sister school.
A partnership.
Yeah, and I know students go there during the summer.
Partnership.
Why are you sketchy about it?
I'm not sketchy. What?
If you don't understand, then you can just watch the interview we did with them.
Maybe I could take a look at that interview.
And maybe everyone else should watch it too.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Adrianna Wright here with Mr. Paone to talk about the Italian Sister City Exchange Program. Hi, how are you today?
I'm good. It's a busy time of year, right? Homecoming week, football game this Friday, dance Saturday. Yeah, doing well.
Okay, so can you explain this program to me a little bit? What is it?
The Italian Sister City Exchange Program?
Yes.
Sure. It's an opportunity for students from Norristown High School to travel to our sister city in Montella, Italy, and for students from Montella, Italy to come experience American culture in Norristown. So it's a great opportunity to see other places and to experience other cultures.
Okay, and who is in charge of this program? Who runs it?
So Jim and Cindy Sarator run the program. They don't work here in the high school. So in the high school, I help facilitate and organize the trip and help the students that are going on the trip. But those two people really run the trip. They go to Italy with the students, Jim and Cindy Sarator.
Okay, so how long have you been doing this trip?
So this trip's been going on for decades now. So it's a good tradition here in Norristown. I've been involved with it for, I'd say, the last about 15 years. So it's a good tradition. I think it's important to keep the tradition alive. Maybe you're aware or not aware that there's a large Italian community in Norristown, and there has been for a very long time. So this program gives those students that are Italian, but don't have to be Italian, of course, to go and just experience life in Italy. And we know that studies show that students that travel abroad at a young age are just much more likely to travel when they get older. And I have students who have gone to Italy in this program and have returned several times since.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about the Sister City program. Is there any way to be involved other than going on the trip?
Sure. So what I started years ago was the Italian American club in our school. So the purpose for this was to help facilitate this trip, to raise money for the trip, to help students to just get awareness for the trip. You certainly don't have to be Italian. Probably I would say today the bulk of our students that travel to Italy aren't Italian, and they just have an interest in the country and in the culture. A lot of them are interested in the food, which is understandable. So really it's my job here to kind of advertise the trip, and I try to coach students before they go in some Italian culture, so this way they feel more comfortable when they go.
Okay, so as far as going on the trip and the students going to Italy, do you have to know Italian? Is it encouraged to speak it? Do you learn it?
It's always encouraged to practice and try. Most of the Italian students, the families that host us there, most of them speak some English. Some speak almost fluent, others not as good. But that shouldn't stop anybody from traveling to Italy, especially the places that they're going when they go to big cities like Rome. Most of the people in those cities, especially people that work in restaurants and stores, they speak English, so that shouldn't discourage anybody. But I would encourage them to practice a little bit, and I can help them. I'm not fluent these days, but I can help them a little bit. And there's other teachers in the school as well that could help them with their Italian. So I'll always try, but no, it should not discourage them from traveling abroad.
Okay, so you touched on the Italian American Club doing some fundraising for the trip. Does that mean that the students are responsible for paying for the trip, or is it kind of like a grant?
So It's sort of both.
Okay.
So the exchange program itself tries to, with the students who and I'll talk about the application process in a little bit, but once the students are selected that are going to go on this trip, those students, and I assist, and Mr. and Mrs. Sarator assist, will have fundraisers to generate as much money as possible, and that money goes toward the trip. So I don't know right now if they have a surplus of dollars. Probably not, because whatever they earn that year, they use and spend for that trip. So it's hard to guesstimate right now with prices of airline tickets, but it's usually around $2,000 when all said and done. Now remember, when they go over there, they have free room and board. I mean, they're with a host family, they're fed, they're taken care of, but they want to have some spending cash, of course. So it depends on the fluctuation of flights, but they will, if they put a lot of time in and they raise money, then price just goes down, and that's kind of how that works.
Okay, so how can I apply for this trip?
Okay, so what will happen is I will get applications soon, probably. I don't have them as of now, but I'll get them soon, and students will come to me if they're interested, and I'm in room 305. Mr. Paone on the 3rd floor, right by stairwell 1. They can come see me. I can give them an application. They fill out the application process. We do allow underclassmen, sophomore and freshmen. We first reserve spots for seniors and juniors because, to travel abroad, it's a big deal. It's a lot of responsibility. So we'd like students to be a little older that can handle that kind of freedom. And a lot of times parents aren't comfortable sending their children to foreign countries at age, 14, 15. So we do prefer upperclassmen, but it's not a requirement. And after they fill out the application, there's an interview process where Mr. and Mrs. Sarator, because they're the ones actually taking them to another country and they're responsible for these children, ask them questions, just getting a gauge of how responsible the young person is. Obviously, they'll look at things like discipline referrals. If someone's getting in trouble a lot, it might be a deterrent to go abroad. But someone who's in good standing and has good grades and is a responsible young, adult, that's who we want to bring on these trips. But in the past, I think the biggest number we took was 10, I want to say, which is a lot. We might have taken a few more. So we try and keep it around that number.
Okay. So this year, do you know what the itinerary looks like?
The itinerary is usually similar. It's usually they land in Rome. Of course, they go to Montella. Montella is the sister city, so their hosts, who they'll be matched up with, live in Montella, so they'll stay there. They'll experience local customs there, which today in 2017 is not that much different than here, so it's not culture shock. From there, they do Rome, they do Capri, they do Florence. So they hit a lot of the beautiful hot spots, a lot of history, a lot of culture, and a lot of just natural beauty. So that's usually where they are, around that area: Rome, Capri, like I said, Florence, Montella.
Okay, so around what is the date for this trip?
As of now, I don't have a date in stone, but it's at the end of the year. We used to do this trip during spring break, but there's problems there because our calendars change, there's snow days. So we do it at the end of the year. So after graduation is when we go. So seniors, if you're looking for a senior week trip, that's, it's a little more expensive, but it's much more memorable than just going down to the Jersey Shore. This is the opportunity, and I talk to your parents now about maybe starting to save money, and it would be after the school year. That's when we do this. So in June.
Roughly how many days would we be in Italy?
2 weeks.
2 weeks, okay.
So they're in Italy for 2 weeks.
And then, is it I know you kind of touched on it, but I just want to clarify. It's the same sister city every year, kind of like the same thing? So if I go once, would I want to go again, or can I go again?
There are students that have done that, that have gone more than once. I mean, you cannot see everything there is to see, even in Rome, in 2 weeks. So you could go a year and not see everything. So yeah, there's certainly a lot to see. But it is the same itinerary for the most part, give or take. They see Mount Vesuvius. I mean, there's just so much history and culture there. So it's pretty much the same itinerary. But that is our sister city, so we exchange with Montella, so they're going to go to Montella and the surrounding areas.
And then once you get in the applications, will there be a deadline for turning them in?
Yeah, I don't know because I don't have the applications, but sure, when we hand out the applications, we'll tell them we need them by a certain date. so we can start the interview process. Because they'd like to know, because we have to match them with a host. So we'd like to know months in advance how many students, how many hosts we need. So then we contact our personnel in Italy and find out, how many families they have available, and then we make the matches.
Okay.
And just so you're aware, and everyone listening and watching is aware, the following year, students from Montella will come to Italy. So if you're going to Italy now, this year, and you'll be hosted by a family in Italy, you might want to think about hosting an individual here. And the relationships that have been built between our students and the students in Italy have continued. I still have students that talk to their host families and have a relationship with the kids over there. And they're your age. They're boys and girls the same age as you.
Okay. So if you're interested in the Italian American program, the club, how would I join that?
So if you come see me in room 305, I'll give you some information. If you're interested in going on the trip, I'll be your go-between. You can come and see me, and I can give you information. And if it's something that a lot of people are interested in, we can start fundraising right away.
Okay. Is there anything else you would like to add?
No, just thank you. And I hope
Thank
you're
you.
not discouraged by the cost or by the language barrier, because those kind of things we can work out.
Okay. I'm Adrianna Wright here with Mr. Paone to talk about this Italian Sister City Exchange program.